Hey everyone, it's me, and in this episode, I want to talk about how your only limit is you. I know that sounds cliche, but I was recently reminded of this truth when my team and I launched our brand new podcast, called Dear Younger Me. In this podcast, my Kyle and I interview people from all over the world who wrote us letters when they were younger. 16 years old or so, with hopes that they would be able to receive them at some point in their life when they were older. And now we get to read those letters back to them and have a conversation about it. We put a ton of work into making this podcast. And while we were editing the first few episodes, it made me realize that sometimes you are holding yourself back without even knowing it. The first example that I want to share with you here today comes from an amazing woman named Karen. Karen is 49 years old. And she wrote this letter when she was 17 years old. In her letter, she talks about how she wanted to be a model. She says, "Dear Karen, you can do anything you set your mind to. Your looks don't matter. If you really want something, go after it." Fast forward 32 years later, we get to speak with Karen again. And she tells us that she ended up becoming a real estate broker instead, because she thought that that was more realistic. Then she goes on to say, "You know, I did get into modeling, but I got into commercial print modeling, which isn't like runway modeling. I always wanted to be a runway model, and I did runway modeling for a little bit, and then I stopped. I think that just like most things in life, if you really want to pursue something, you can. But there's also timing. You know, I could try to become a model now at 49 years old, but I think it's more of a younger person thing." So it made me think, wow, maybe you are holding yourself back. Maybe you have dreams that you had since you were young that you haven't pursued yet. In Karen's case, it was modeling. For you, it could be music, acting, writing, art, sports, business, or anything else that you've ever dreamed of doing. But perhaps you're not pursuing your dreams because you're waiting for the perfect time, a time that may never come. The reality is that if you truly want to pursue something, there will always be an obstacle. There will always be something standing between you and what you want to achieve. But the question you need to ask yourself is whether that obstacle is big enough to stop you from trying. Because sometimes the only limit that we have in life is ourselves. We create these limitations in our minds, and we tell ourselves that it is too late, or it is too expensive, or we don't have enough time, or we'll never be good enough. But the truth is that we are the ones who define what is possible. So instead of letting fear hold you back, I encourage you to take action toward your goals. Take small steps every day to move closer to where you want to be, because the longer you wait, the harder it will be to catch up. The longer you wait to start working out, the harder it will be to get in shape. The longer you wait to start learning a language, the harder it will be to become fluent. The longer you wait to start that business, the harder it will be to become successful. So please, don't let fear or doubt hold you back. Embrace the challenge and enjoy the journey. That's what life is all about. The next story comes from a man named Matt. Matt is 47 years old, and he wrote this letter when he was 17 as well. And in his letter, he talks about his dream of becoming a writer. He says, "Dear Matt, follow your passion for writing. Don't give up on it. Pursue it with everything you've got. Writing is a great career choice." Fast forward 30 years later, we get to speak with Matt again. And he tells us that he actually became a software engineer instead. When asked why he didn't become a writer, Matt says, "I guess I kind of followed the advice of my parents who wanted me to become a professional in a stable occupation. Something where I could get a job versus being a starving artist, so to speak. A starving writer. My dad always told me, don't become a writer. Writers don't make any money." So I guess I listened to him. So it made me think, wow, maybe you are holding yourself back by listening to other people. In Matt's case, it was his parents. Maybe for you, it's your friends or family or colleagues or society telling you what you should do. But the fact of the matter is that you are the one who has to live your life. You are the one who has to make decisions that are best for you. So please don't let anyone else hold you back. Don't let anyone else dictate what you should do with your life. Of course, you should listen to people who you admire and respect and trust. But ultimately, the decision has to be yours. You have to be willing to take the risk and follow your own path, even if it's not the same as everyone else's. The final example that I want to share with you comes from a guy named Cody. Cody is 33 years old, and he wrote this letter when he was 16 years old. In his letter, he talks about his dream of starting his own business. He says, Dear Cody, don't settle for working for someone else. Take the risk, start your own business, and be your own boss. Fast forward 17 years later, we get to speak with Cody again, and he tells us that he actually works for his father's company. When asked why he didn't start his own business, Cody says, "I definitely did want to start my own business, but my dad kind of talked me out of it. You know, he said that it's just too risky. It's not worth it." And I kind of listened to him because he's been successful as an entrepreneur himself. He built his own business to where it is now, so I figured that he probably knows better than me. So it made me think, wow, maybe you are holding yourself back by relying on other people's experiences. In Cody's case, it was his father. Maybe for you, it's someone else in your life who has offered you unsolicited advice. But the fact of the matter is that everyone's situation is different. Everyone's goals and priorities and risk tolerance and skills and resources are different. So what worked for someone else may not work for you. So please don't be afraid to chart your own path. Don't be afraid to take risks and pursue your own dreams. Of course, you should listen to people who you admire and respect and trust. But ultimately, the decision has to be yours. So my friends, I hope these stories have inspired you to take action towards your dreams. I know that sometimes it can be hard to believe in yourself and your abilities. But I want you to remember that you are capable of achieving amazing things. You just have to have the courage to take the first step. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in another episode. Bye-bye.